Hello and welcome to another one of my hand history reviews. In this particular hand, we are playing 6 max micro stakes, and the first thing we should do is look at all the stack sizes, and if you'll notice, everybody has the average stack size. So we are sitting under the gun with A6 of hearts. This is a marginal hand to play under the gun. I guess I was feeling a little frisky. If I'm going to play a hand, though, I come in for a raise, and usually I like to raise a minimum of 3 up to 3.5 big blinds. The reason why is I find if I raise less than that, I'm either in a multi-way pot, or worse, I get 3-bet, at least in the micro stakes. So in this particular instance, I do come in for a 3.5 big blind raise. Everybody folds, and I get one caller who I have position on. So if we go to Flopzilla, if you're not familiar with Flopzilla, this is a great tool for analyzing your hands. I do believe it is a must tool, and I don't have the time to explain it in this particular video, but there's a lot of great videos out there about Flopzilla. So in this case, we give ourselves a 6 of hearts, and we're going to give villain roughly a 37% opening range. Our calling range, I'm sorry. This is what I typically give an unknown player. You may or may disagree with this particular range, but we have to assign some sort of range, and so this is what I'm assigning him. Flop comes 10-7-6. Not a great flop for us, but not a horrible flop either. At least we caught a part of it, so we're going to enter it. So we had 10 of spades, 7 of clubs, 6 of spades. So we uncheck this. So before the hand even starts, we're 54% favored to win this, just marginal. But since we were the opening raiser, villain checks to the raiser, and we ought to put in a bet. Now, we have a couple of options. One is to do a delayed c-bet, which I believe would probably be best in this particular case, since we do have a bottom pair. Second option is to bet enough to take it down. In that case, we should bet an overbet, which I think 9 or even 10 big blinds would be warranted. I think that's our two best options. In this particular case, though, I bet half pot. I'm not real happy with that bet. It's not horrible, but still, we could have, checked or overbet. And anyhow, it is what it is. So let's see the turn. Of course, I'm sorry. Villain calls us. So what would he call us with? Well, what I like to do is I like to make a red check mark on anything that would call us that has us beats. So straight, would he be slow playing? Yes. Set slow playing? Yes. Two pair? Yes. Over pair, there's not one. Top pair? Yes. What about a pair less than top pair? He would call us and that still beats us. What about a middle pair? He would call that as well, and once again beating us. Bottom pair, well, these I'm going to go ahead and change that to green. They're not beating us, so we're going to go ahead and check that in green. Would he call with a pair less than a board, like a pair of 5s, pair of 4s, 3s, 2s? Players at this level don't like to fold a pair, and so it's questionable whether or not he would call with that. That being said, I think, for the benefit of the doubt, I think he would call at least one street. He would not call any no-made hand, and all the draws I think he would call. So right now we still have a 54% favorite to win. Not great. As you can see, whoops, I'm sorry, we got to click this. That changes things. Okay, now we're only a 43% favor, so we are an underdog. So unless the turn card changes things, we are probably going to be done with this hand. Here's a graphic representation. The green, the things we are beating his range. red are hands that are beating us for the time being. So turn card is an ace, which is good and bad for us. It's good in that it gives us 2 pair. It's bad if he was on a flush draw. So let's go ahead and enter that. We have the ace of spades. Ace of spades. We gotta click this. So right now we're, before any action, we're 69, almost 70% favored to win. So what does villain do? Villain checks. Alright, so what should we do? Well, we are most likely ahead. Yes, he could have a flush. Yes, he could have a higher 2 pair, but it's unlikely. There's a pretty good chance that we are ahead. So we need to bet, but we need to bet ahead. Bet enough where aces will call us and the draws will call us, whether it's a straight draw, whether it's a flush draw. We don't want to chase these out. That being said, I think any size bet an ace would call us, and I think any size bet a flush would call us. So I think a 2/3 size bet would be appropriate here. So roughly 9, 10 big blinds in that range, and we bet half size, half pot. Once again, I don't think that is horrible, but if we are ahead, which I do believe we are, I think we're leaving money on the table. So villain, black calls again. So what would he be calling with now? Well, once again, we're going to mark in red all the things that I think is beating us. Players at this level love to slow play. On such a wet board, if I actually had 2 pair, an ace, etc. No, I guess I'd pot control, I guess, now that I think about it. Okay, so would a flush slow play? Yes. Would a straight slow play? I don't think slow play. I think the flush draw, the 3 flush cards out there could scare him, so I could see him just calling with that. What about a set? Yes, he would definitely just call. He would be afraid to raise with that flush out there. 2 pair, call. Well, 2 pair, we actually are beating most of the 2 pairs, so let's turn that to green. Top pair, would he just be calling with an ace? If he just hit his ace, probably. Pair less than top card, where there's none. Middle pair, would he still be calling with a 10? I think he would probably fold his 10s at this point. With 3 flush cards out there, with an ace out there, I think he would fold that. So he would fold the rest of these. Would he call with the flush draw? No, certainly. And all the flush draws. And all the open-ended straight draws. So, based on that, we're still a 48% favorite. It's still a coin flip. Once again, we are beating the vast majority of his range. A 5 of hearts. 5 of hearts. Alright, so once again, before any action, we're still a 61% favorite to win. Looking good. What does villain do? Villain checks. Villain checks. We only have 5 hands on him. We don't have a lot of history on him. That's why I pretty much ignored his HUD. So, the 5 of hearts. Do you think he would check royal flush? No, there's none. There's no straights. Do you think he would check a flush? I don't think so. I think he'd be scared I'd check behind him. What about a straight? Again, I think he'd be scared of the flush. I think he would just check call. Sets. Well, actually, let me check this back. I think he would check that, check that, check that, check 2 pair, check. Pretty much, he would check everything. So, once again, if that's the case, we're winning 61% of the time. Still, there is that flush possibility out there. And pot's already 28.50. This is one of those where we're way ahead or way behind. I think the smart thing to do at this point would just be to check behind. that being said, would we be leaving money on the table? I don't know. I think if he has the flush draw and he missed, no bets. He won't call any size bet. If he has an ace, would he call? Probably a small bet. What about a pair of tens or a pair smaller than aces? No. I think even to a small bet he would fold. So the only thing that would call us would be an ace, pair of aces with the kicker. So considering that the only aces will call us, I think the best move is to check. But instead I bet a little less than half pot. I'm not happy with that bet either. And I get check raised. What does that mean? Oh, so how did that 5 help him, or did he already have a flush? Did he hit the straight? Was he slow playing a flush? Does he have ace 5? Well, once again, players at this level do not bluff the river. They only bet when they have the nuts. Not only did he bet though, he check raised me. That usually is a very strong move this level. So let's check it out. So now we're going to go with red. Would he check raise a flush? Certainly. Would he check raise a straight? Come on now. I don't think he would check raise a straight. I think he would just call. So we're going to uncheck that. What about a sec? I think he would just call. 2 pair. No, top pair. Definitely not a check raise. All these other things would be check calls. Well, if that's the case, we've lost. I mean, it only makes up 11% of his range that we've put him on, but I guess the only other thing he could do would be a flat out bluff. And a flat out bluff, we've got a 2/3 chance of winning. But players at this level, once again, A, don't bluff the river, and B, don't bluff check raises. So if you combine the two, that is the only possibility you can have. So as much as it pains me, we should go ahead and fold. Instead we call, and wow, that was a flat out bluff. He turned his pair of nines into a bluff. In this particular case, calling was the right move. In the long run, I think that is the wrong move. In fact, I'm just not real happy with the way I played this hand at all. It started with this kind of loose raise with the A6 pre-flop. That's debatable. On this hand, on the flop, I think we should have bet 10. Chances are he would have called. Or delay c-bet. On the turn, that ace came out. I don't think he would have bet his nines. So if we would have bet here, he probably would have still called. On the river, this is just an easy check behind. So I think I got lucky. I don't think I played this well. Well, if you agree or disagree, please leave some constructive criticism down below, remembering I am just an amateur player. I am not a pro, so keep it nice, and thank you for watching.